Hello, hello. Welcome to Psychic Talk. I'm your host, Priscilla Gendron, and welcome again to another wonderful, beautiful, sunny South Africa. And yes, the sun is shining. It's like 35 degrees today, so it's nice and hot for a change. Um, it's always my great pleasure to introduce new guests to our show. We have a lot of guests that do a repeat of performance, but we also have an amazing array of amazing new guests. And recently I've been able to find and unearth some beautiful gems, and today is no exception. So I'd love to introduce you to an amazing lady called Selena Joy Lovett. And she is originally from the UK, but she makes her home in the beautiful Spanish hills. And so it's my pleasure to welcome her. She is a psychic and an intuitive healer. And welcome, Selena.
Hi, how lovely to meet you. And it's so wonderful now. I think the only benefits of COVID was that the world sort of got a bit smaller and we all got so used to working via Zoom. And now we can connect to, I know we could before, but it just seems it was like the gateway, wasn't it?
Exactly.
And now we're all so used to meeting up. So it's wonderful to connect with you in South Africa. That's beautiful.
And you have connections as well. We were just talking earlier on that you do have connections to South Africa with family here. So I always love that we can join the dots.
Yeah, I had beautiful, beautiful memories of living in or visiting South Africa and Hillcrest and Pietermaritzburg, Durban. I spent a good couple of months there. It was beautiful. And I did want to stay, but I had to go back to work, unfortunately.
It does. It draws you in, and it gets into your soul, kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah, very special place.
Right. So my show is all about people and their journeys. And for me, I always find it fascinating to see how people's journeys began. Because, we get to this point in our lives when we've done all this work, but we don't talk about the journey we've been on from when we first discovered our gifts and our abilities and the path that we're taking. And it hasn't always been an easy path, and the ups and downs and things like that. So I'd love you to just tell us a little bit about your journey of where it all started for you.
Well, you know what? It started, I was very young. And I think the thing is especially back when I was young, we didn't have Instagram, Facebook, we just had, a couple of channels on the TV and that was it. So when you were lost and confused, there wasn't really many outlets, that now it's all, everything's spoken about. But I went through some trauma as a child, but then I also felt very different, I didn't feel that I fitted in. And I also recognized that there was something so much more than the life we had, so it caused me to look deeper. And as I say, nowadays, you can go online and think, yes, I'm psychic. Yes, that's why I feel different. I'm an empath. These are my emotions. But when I just got very, very confused, I was so lucky that I met a lady. She was actually a medium. She was a gypsy lady, but she gifted me a beautiful pack of tarot cards and said, this is what you need. And it was exactly what I needed. I sort of dived into the tarot cards and they gave me all the answers that I needed. If I felt lost, I knew why. Sometimes it didn't actually help. You were still pretty lost, but it just, it would speak to me. The tarot spoke to me through the symbols, through the images. I just really bonded with them. I loved them. That was just that connection. There was a lot of guidance, and I feel that obviously that was my first step with meeting my higher self and going beyond and, meeting my spirit guides. And then my first steps into mediumship as well. And at the time, I didn't recognize it, but at least I was able to channel all this craziness that was in my head, and I began to understand in some way. And then I went on to meditation and different things to help because I think it's the same with all empaths. We all feel at some stage that we've gone crazy, we've lost it, because you don't really know the
Exactly.
thoughts that come in, the
Yeah.
feelings that come in, you know, and we don't know how to deal with it now. We know, okay, we ground, we sit, you know, we hold our space, we cleanse our energy. So it's very, very different. But at the time, it was quite. I felt very isolated, I suppose, and I didn't feel, you know, everybody else seemed to be having fun. Don't get me wrong, I had really good fun as well, but because of the damage that was done, I was so I don't know, sensitive to different energies. And so life seemed a real struggle. You know, everything seemed a struggle. You know, I'd want to go out and then I didn't want to go out. And then that, you know, so it was
Exactly.
really all
So
over the place.
do you think that the trauma from your past and from when you were younger, was that a catalyst for change for you to step into this realm?
It was, and I also feel that it's been my sole purpose, you know, because now that's what I do is healing, and I tend to do my main bag is womb healing. You know, I was damaged as a child. I feel that sort of the wounds ran through my heritage, and now I feel the reason I went through it because I was the ancestor that was going to heal the rest, you know. And I do feel now we're all born into this era where we have the tools and the knowledge, and now it's up to us to help stop you know, a lot of the wounds that come down. You know, we can now do it.
Generational, yeah,
Yeah,
generational
and I feel
wounds.
that's my role in life. So I've spent a long time healing, you know, my healing journey, learning so many different techniques. I was lucky, I traveled quite a lot. So I went over to India and I learned a lot about the Ayurveda ways of healing. And then I went to, you know, different places in Asia. I studied acupuncture and Reiki and, you know, so many different healing techniques. And now I see, you know, so I've healed on lots and lots of different levels. And obviously I'm still going through my layers, but that sort of led me into the womb healing, which was healing not only things that are happening in the present, but also going back through those layers. So it's a fascinating realm of healing. And then I think from that womb healing, it then leads you into the past life, because then you go back even further. So, and I feel I wouldn't have been on this journey if it hadn't been for the trauma I suffered. So you do get to that stage, I think, in trauma where
Exactly.
you think, well, still wish it never happened, but I'm also, in a weird way, grateful for it happened, because I am now who I am and where I am, and can help other people that have gone through, you know, childhood trauma, that then can, you know, that one experience or experiences in childhood then changes your whole life. So from then, everything you made is sort of the decisions you make and the things you do are because you're damaged. So you know, once you go back to heal that bit, you sort of unravel all the damage that's come from that one point in time, if that makes sense.
Completely. You know, and if you didn't have that, would you
Mhm.
be doing what you were doing now? Probably not, to the
Yeah.
extent that you're doing it.
Yeah, and I think that you know, if all that didn't have happened or hadn't have happened, I wouldn't have gone all the way this mystical, magical journey. You know, I know some
Exactly.
people that I was at school of sort of have gone from A to B, and I've gone sort of A, B, C, D, 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 D.
Exactly. But what I'm finding a lot within the spiritual realm and the people that I'm interviewing is that 99% of people have that kind of journey. It's not just a
Yeah,
point from point A to B. It's through the whole alphabet in order to get to
yeah.
our purpose and our meaning.
And
Because
that's
it's
right.
so
Also,
important to have all those feelings and those emotions, and you're learning from them.
yeah, I mean, I think the thing is we have to experience to become a healer. We've got to be able to, or even a psychic, you know, we've got to understand so many different cultures, emotions, experiences. You know, so when you've been through a lot, you can empathize with your clients or people you're helping, because you can think, yeah, I understand where you're at. You know, I've been there, I've been there, I've been there. I totally get you. Obviously we can't empathize with everything that's going on, but at least we've got, you know, if we hadn't had that terrible darkness or downtimes, we can't empathize with other people that are going through things. So yeah, it makes for an interesting journey.
It definitely does. And it's also the people that you meet along the way that help you and hinder you in your progress.
Yeah. And I think the thing is that the nice thing is the more you develop your gifts, then you meet such lovely people like yourself. But it's really lovely that we're starting again, especially with the aid of the internet. But there are now so many people, light workers, coming into the light, and it's so wonderful to meet other people, to hear other people's stories, and to keep developing. You know, as we were saying earlier, you meet people and they've got a fantastic connection with their spirit guides, or they channel from different sources, and it's like, oh my God, you know, or their light codes, you know, and different ways of doing things. And so it's interesting. You know, you never stop learning. And when you think, oh, you know, I've done so much development, I'm okay, and then you hear of something new and you're like, oh, I need to know. I'm sort of always learning so many different,
like a kid
courses.
in a candy store, in a sense.
Definitely. And somebody did laugh at me because they said, you know, I've got about 50 sets of tarot, or oracle and tarot. Talking about a kid in a candy shop. If I go into an esoteric shop with crystals and tarot, I'm like, yay!
Definitely. So what made you sort of change direction in terms of from the UK to where you are now in Spain?
You know, I feel the biggest thing is that I just knew that there was something more. I left school, I think, you know, at 16, and where I lived in London, there was so much work around years ago, and you sort of left school. You didn't really need to get further education like nowadays. You left and you found a job and you worked your way up. So I'd left school and I was in a computer company, and it was a good job and good money, probably more than I'm earning now. But you know, I did a couple of years of it and I just thought, is this life? I think I was going to buy a house at 18, you know, and I was like, oh my God, is this me? Is this it? You know, this is life? You know, you're forever now working, paying your mortgage and da da da. And so I just thought there was something more out there. So I came over to Spain, which is a beautiful part. I'm up at the Costa Brava, so it's not far from France. I'm near the French border, not far from Barcelona. So here it's you've got the mixture of the mountains, the sea, the sun, as well as we get the four seasons. So it's a beautiful place. And I came here, and then from here I met people that were traveling, so I just went off traveling to different places. And I think it's because I was searching for that something more, you know, and I felt perhaps claustrophobic, or I knew I just had to go.
It's like the soul of the gypsy, you know, you've got the soul of the gypsy. And the gypsy is always one that doesn't settle in one place for forever. You know, they have that need to go and travel and explore and see other parts of the world, which I think is so good for us as spiritual beings, is to see the other side of the coin.
Yeah, and there were so many places that I was drawn to. And again, I think it's because we have to go. You know, our soul pushes us to move, you know, to go to these places. And each place I visited, I learned some lessons. You know, I went to America. Was over in San Francisco for a while, which was where I always thought I would end up living, but I had an accident that brought me back home. So I think it was like, you're on the wrong path. Get her back. But then I was lucky, I think, to find, sort of going over to Asia, especially to India, where there was a lot of talk about energy. That I suddenly realized that, yeah, this is what I've been feeling. Energy, what is this thing? Because you don't get any education at school, you know, about being psychic, energy, and that we can heal ourselves, that we know things about others, that we can communicate with spirit if we want to. You know, you don't learn it. So there was my first, although I knew about it and talked about it, I was with my cards a lot, and learned hypnosis, and so I was doing past life regressions. It really kicked off for me, I think, when I suddenly experienced energy healing. I was like, ah, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. And then yeah, it was a life-changing experience, I think, you know. So I don't think I would have felt that unless I'd traveled. Well, I suppose I would have. If it's on your soul journey, it eventually finds you. So, but yeah, I loved traveling. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that this helps you to grow as a spiritual being as well. So maybe just explain to us a little bit about what you're doing now currently, the kind of work that you're doing.
What I've done is, because I don't like being on Facebook and Instagram. I am a lot, but you know, I don't particularly like it because I had my page taken away. I've had restrictions. And so I looked for a way that I could bring people together to make a community, to make a support system, because I myself have often felt quite the need to be with like-minded people. So I've created a space in Patreon, which is a bit like Facebook, but it's mine. You know, it's not owned by me. It's a huge company, but I've got my hired little room within the community. And now what I do is I have different, it's like a membership, and there's different bits you can join. And so one of the main things that I do is I offer psychic readings every week. Every Monday I post like a 10-minute reading to support the group. And then we do a monthly healing. So we come together and we learn sacred symbols, we do a meditation, we send out energy to each other. Sometimes we chat about how we're feeling, what we're doing, and then we send it out to the world. And with that group, I think it's like 120 rand, you know, it's like £5 a month. And then there's different ways you can sort of work with me within that sense. And I do a lot of working with the moon, you know, that I think that's why I was called Selena, you know, the goddess of the moon. So I've always felt very connected to the moon, and I started doing the full moon healing, which is when we go deep, usually into either the womb healing or past life healing, going really deep to release things so we can raise our vibration. And so when we do our intention setting and manifesting and group healing for the new moon, we're sort of starting to manifest the life that we want, you know, whether it's to be more of a light worker, more of a healer, better channel, or whether it's financial abundance, whatever people want. But the thing is at least, you know, we can't live the life we want unless we get rid of and heal and look at, you know, people talk about the secret, you know, manifesting and being happy and but you can't be in that vibration. You perhaps can be it mentally, but unless your energy is the same. So we do a lot
Yeah.
of soul searching and releasing in the full moon, and then we sort of elevate our energy and keep manifesting the things that are right for us. Because again, when people manifest, they say, oh, I want £1 million, you know, and you think, yeah, but that's not going to make you any happier than you are now. This is what you need to manifest, and it's, you know, it's something that's in line with your soul path and your,
Yes.
you know, your wants and needs. So we work a lot on that in a group. I also, because I love tarot, I teach tarot in these circles as well. And then we also do a divination circle, which is where we can learn charm reading, you know, or ribbon reading, or we just sit and play with oracle cards. But it's where you can develop your psychic gifts with like-minded people, practicing readings and having fun doing it, you know.
Yeah. And you demystify the woo-woo part of it, you know, because it's always like being portrayed as this really crazy thing. And, you know, I find that it's so important now, because we are evolving so much, is to demystify the whole concept of what it is we do.
For me also, the main thing was because cards helped me so much. I wanted to
Yes.
say to people, just every day, pick up your cards and ask them, what do I need to know today? How is this going to help me today? What do I need to do today? And my cards, you know, may pick up and say, look, you've got this card. The blue means you need to communicate or be with water, wash your emotion, whatever it is. It
Yes.
would tell me, my higher self tells me how to embrace and look after myself, or what decision to make. And it's like we can all do it. It's difficult sometimes to know our own thoughts. But if you learn a way of communicating with your higher self, which through oracle cards or tarot cards is so easy, because you'll see the signs and you get to know yourself. And I feel it opens up the healing, the love, because once you realize it's not just you as this body, we are a spiritual being, you know, we're in communication with our higher self. We're spirit as well, you know, in clothes.
Very
So
much
it brings in this self-love instead of going through life not feeling good with yourself. When you embrace spirituality, you know, and it can just be that connection, then you just feel so much better. And I feel that if people know that they're not alone, there is help just by picking up a card. And that's one of the easiest forms I know. You know, you don't have to meditate or anything. It's just you pick up a card and it tells you something, you know, and it helps you, supports you, brings you back to being in control of your life. You know, it's an empowering thing that even when we're going through horrific times, we can connect to our high self or to our spirit guides, and that brings in that deeper meaning, and they can say, look, you're going through this because of this, and tomorrow's a new day. And that's what, you know, there's hope. They bring you hope.
exactly.
So that's what I really want to do in Circle, is just make it easy. Just pick up a card. It's so easy, you know.
So leading on from the word card, you've actually developed your own pack, and you have your own pack. Do you want to just hold it up so you can see?
What I did, I worked with a lovely lady who is who's an artist, and she got all these beautiful pictures for the tarot cards.
Amazing.
And when we were working together, because we worked through COVID on them, and so she was in the UK, she's up towards like Glastonbury, and I would be walking in the woods, and I'd say, oh, I've had an idea for a card, and I'd say, and she said, oh, I've just drawn this, and it's exactly what you were saying. So we had great fun in developing the cards, and we got. So
what is your pack called? What is the pack called?
This is called the Journey of Enlightenment. So, and then because a lot of people were still a bit about tarot, even though most of them are very sort of cheerful images, people are still a bit, oh, tarot cards. So what I did, also what was happening is I'd have my clients perhaps come in once a month, and then they'd go off, and I'd leave them with instructions how to change their life. Well, why do you do this, and try doing that, and then they'd go off, and they'd have, or maybe we'd have every other week appointments, whatever it was, but they'd come in after 2 weeks and say, oh, I was okay for about 10 days, and then so I developed this book, and what it is to help you learn tarot, any sort of tarot. But what I said for them to do is just hold the problem in the mind, and then I turn to a page, and here you'd have the meaning of the card if you were learning tarot. But if you were looking for advice, it would give you some steps that you could take, you know, so it gives you a bit of advice. So it's like having a little mini tarot reading. So if you get stuck, you can just say, what do I do? And there's the answer. You know, you've got so like for this one, the Two of Swords comes up, which is sort of about avoidance and blocking and refusing to see. So it says, you know, you may be going through this vibration, and then you've got the steps to enlightenment, which are ways, you know, breathe, relax, you know, and it gives you lots of different steps to be able to break away from that block. So and I get, you know, I love tarot, and I love, some people don't want to use the cards, but then you're like, well, you can use the book. It's a book, harmless book.
Yeah, it has a different connotation when it's in a book as opposed to the cards. Yeah. It's just a mental block in a sense. And so if anybody would like to get either the book or the cards, they can go to Selena's website and order them there. And it's www.selenajoylovett.com. All right.
That's right. Yeah, or on Amazon, because
on
the
Amazon.
book's self-published, so it's Steps to Enlightenment, and that's on Amazon. But yeah,
Right.
it's just a way of keeping that vibration high, you know. So I feel that we just need, it's developing some sort of self-help tools that when we're going through that horrible time, we have something that says it is going to be okay. This is what's happening, and they're the steps you can take. And then you may not feel okay on, you know, smiley smiley, but at least you start feeling better and you don't
Exactly.
go down, you know, and you know that you're not alone. There is, you know, there is something out there helping you. So that's
The
the,
world is changing and evolving now, so it's taking shape and giving people a perspective to look in a different direction.
yeah, for sure, which is so lovely. And now I know things are changing a lot. I mean, in the schools they're teaching a lot of mindfulness and meditation, and Reiki's become very mainstream, you know, in the UK and here it's used in hospitals, which is wonderful, you know, so it is getting out there, but it's still needs a little bit more,
A little
you
bit of
know, still, you know, when people say, what do you do? Well, I read tarot.
exactly.
Tequila. Oh.
Oh, Selena, it's been really lovely chatting with you. If anybody wants to get hold of Selena, all her contact details will be in the description below of the video, and her Patreon and the Amazon connection and her website details will be there. If you want to connect with her and go on any of her courses or things on Patreon, as well as get her book and tarot cards. So it's been an absolute joy and pleasure to have you on board, and we look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And I'd just like to say welcome to the team, as we say.
Lovely.
So thank you very much, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you again, same time, same place, whether it's morning, noon, or night. Whenever you watch this video, just enjoy it. And I hope that you glean something from it. So have an awesome day. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.